Search and rescue efforts underway in hard-hit Stony Point, New York. An 80-year-old rescued from his home after he became trapped by water. This family in Orange County, New York, desperately trying to control flooding in their home.
Please, God! Let it stop!
Last night was complete chaos. We think that we've got everybody accounted for, but, there are some people that could have been swept away.
County officials issuing a state of emergency. One woman swept away and killed during the flash flooding.
The young lady that passed away just got caught up with it. She and her family tried to evacuate their house, and she crossed with a pet and lost her footing and unfortunately was washed away down into a ravine.
Suburbs north of New York City inundated by the heavy rain.
It was extremely scary. I have never seen anything like this before. To just watch all of the water come running through my property, taking everything with it, and there was nothing that we could do.
At the U.S. Military Academy West Point in parts of eastern Pennsylvania, they suffered once in a 1,000-year flooding. More than 8 inches of rain, most of it in about 6 hours. Cars, roads, and homes swallowed. In Vermont, rushing rivers. In Pennsylvania,
oh my gosh, look at this vehicle.
Cars trying to navigate flooded streets. This van had to be rescued.
A summer of extreme weather continues as countries reel from flooding. Heavy rain caused landslides in Japan's southwest, resulting in the deaths of some locals. In China, downpours caused flooding in the megacity of Chongqing in the southwest, killing more than a dozen and displacing thousands. South Asia has also experienced an onslaught of rain as part of the annual monsoon season. There has been flooding in Pakistan, which still hasn't recovered from the effects of the devastating floods last year. And in northern India, dozens have died amid torrential rain. In the longer term, experts also believe global heating is responsible for extreme weather events. But progress has been slow in addressing the climate crisis.
And as dried up rivers in California, the state's officials decided to put a ban on salmon fishing. In force since April along the entire coast of the Golden State and parts of neighboring Oregon, the ban is supposed to last until the end of the fishing season in September. Climate change has aggravated conditions in the state. The ban was brought in as the number of salmon expected to return to the region's rivers has plummeted close to historic lows. The decades-long drought gripping the American West has seen the levels of California's rivers drop and their waters grow warmer. Many dams already constructed on these waterways have generated inhospitable conditions for the salmon. They are struggling to swim upstream to reproduce, and their offspring often die before reaching the ocean.
With the really low forecasts and low numbers returning to the river last summer, the decision was made to not have a season this year because the expectations are there just aren't a lot of fish, and we need to get fish back into the river to spawn.
Now, this ban is a significant blow to California, where salmon fishing generates $1.4 billion a year and supports 23,000 jobs. Some restaurants have had to find several alternatives to this. Some of these include relying on farmed salmon. Other consumers are simply turning to other more plentiful fish. Salmon is the main fishery for some, and it accounts for about 90% of their income. Now, many in the fishing community have pointed out that the rising water temperatures with the diversion of water for irrigation is the main reason for the declining salmon population. The Biden administration is expected to expand the federal protections for salmons in 2024. Businesses tied to salmon want the government to declare the situation a federal disaster so they may receive aid.
Cooling off from the soaring temperatures. As the thermometer hits 45 degrees Celsius and rising. Residents in the Iraqi capital are seeking respite in the Baghdad Aquatic Center, but such luxuries aren't available to all. For Ahmed and his family, a hosepipe is their only defense against the soaring mercury. The country is plagued by a failing central power grid, with heat waves putting further pressure on an already stretched system. Those who can afford it are spending hundreds of dollars a month on private generators, and it's not just humans who are struggling to stay cool. At this pet shop, generators are essential to keep the animals alive. And there could be worse to come, with temperatures expected to reach 48 degrees Celsius in the coming days.
They're invasive, They're poisonous, and they're in East Texas. Hammerhead worms are wriggling through our soil. Just ask Shelby Baker.
I definitely didn't think that I would find one, but we saw one in the backyard, and I thought it was just a regular worm until we looked down at it.
Baker has 2 young kids and 2 dogs that love to spend time in the yard. After finding a hammerhead worm at her own house, she's concerned. I spoke to a specialist at Texas A&M AgriLife in Overton who confirmed that hammerhead worms shouldn't be touched with bare hands.
They will make some nauseous, like the feeling. They can numb your hand or finger, that kind of, because they are the neurotoxin. But if you are handling more and more, that can be a dangerous thing.
And on top of the harmful neurotoxins, they aren't good for our environment like earthworms are.
So that's why these worms, they are killing or they are predating on these earthworms. So that's why they are dangerous for our ecosystem.
Khan says that the best thing to do if you encounter one of these worms is to put it in a closed container with salt or vinegar and refrain from cutting it in half.
If you are cutting them, you are thinking like we are making it dead, but it's not. You are making it a 2 actually, because from there, the cutting part, they can make a new head within 10 days.